Hello and welcome back to Skytear. This is the second week of the Summer League, and we're getting hot in with a game from the runner-up of the last tournament, Jack, against Gameslayer. On the other side of the table, I'm here tonight with Krull, who's streaming, but also jumping in on the commentary a bit, I believe.
Yep, that is correct. I'll definitely contribute my 2 cents worth.
And this is the second round of the league. As mentioned, there are 4 rounds in the EU split, the EU side of things, because we had less players, unfortunately. But if you are not signed up for the Summer League, make sure to bolster the numbers on the next one so us EU guys can get a 5th round too.
And I think the other interesting thing is we're beta testing some new rules here. So we have no siege in the victory card deck, and we have players shuffling victory cards. And we've also got the new rule for Frenzy, where you now remove the Frenzy token and it no longer counts as an action to declare Frenzy attacks.
And also, Tal can now control as many pillars as they want. There is no cap based on the amount of green heroes in your team. They can have unlimited pillars, which I'm sure we're going to get to see a bit in this game, given 5 green heroes on the side of Gameslayer.
Yeah, the objectives also look to be quite promising for an interesting game.
Yes, so just going over the objectives that we had revealed were the Tamer, Obstinacy, and Right Breach. That's defeat 2 enemy heroes using an outsider, defeat the same enemy hero twice, or destroy the enemy tower on your right lane. And I have a feeling we're going to see a very aggressive game. 2 kill objectives on the table, and both of them are achievable alongside each other. You know, you could get the first kill on Obstinacy at the same time as you get the first point on the Tamer. And Right Breach always proving a popular option for victory. Right Breach and the Left Breach, of course, having 2 of the highest victory conversion rates on the online meta reports. So, yeah, we're going to see a fast and furious game for sure.
Yep. Let's not keep the players waiting any longer. We'll ping the coin and let them know that they can commence the draft.
I'm trying to ping, but it's not letting me at the moment.
That's all right.
Well, yeah, but I need to get that sorted, right? There we go.
Alright, so it looks like Gameslayer's taken first turn, or being given first turn, not sure, but we'll see which outsider's coming along.
Looks like picking the original outsider, so we often see the original outsider used for decks that have like a solid mid-range and control-y aspect, because it can go either way, really. It can be used for aggression or for shoring up your defenses. So it makes sense to see that picked from a green team as mid-range as they often are.
It's also
and then with the picks,
yeah, the base outsider also is helpful in the fact that it has a piercing attack and there's a bit of armor on Jack's side.
Yes, well, it will help on both sides of the table. There's quite a lot of armor today. However, we'll wait to see if that remains true after the picks. The first 2 coming in for Jack were Akrit and Shalavi. We've seen him use these to clear lanes and make sure he has a high damage and push presence throughout, well, every tournament we've seen him in, really. He's not strayed from these girls. And on the other side of the table, we have Zakol and Tlakali so far. Tlakali. One thing I noticed in Gameslayer's list was, interestingly, there are 2 copies of Ice Wall on Akla, and he can't even cast those.
Yeah, it was an interesting one. But I mean, they're not a bad 3-mana card, and everybody else, or half the heroes, can cast it.
Yeah, so it's likely that he'd have someone else in his team, hopefully alive at the time, to be able to play the Ice Wall. But yeah, I thought that was interesting, and Ice Wall's becoming a lot more popular among a lot of these decks. The +1 on the flip never hurts, and 3-mana lead, like you say, very important in these lane heavy dominant games.
So it looks like the players have rounded out their lists. So we'll clear up the health tokens for everybody. Yep. So we've got the players having drawn their opening hands. It looks like they're just having to think about whether they're mulliganing. And we've got Jack mulliganing 3 cards, so he's discarded 2 copies of Charm and a copy of Gathering Storm. Oh, and I've lost Jar Jar, but that's alright. There we go. Jar Jar looks like he's back.
Hey. Really sorry about that, guys. My internet cut out for a moment.
That's right.
It appears
Good to have you back.
What's the status of the game? It's just mod caching for me at the minute.
That's right. So we've had. Alright, so we've got Gameslayer activating Tlakali, and he's moved Tlakali into. Oh, that's a good question. What lane they are? Lane number 1, and placed a pillar. So a move and a worship.
I can see the board now. Can't see all the models yet, but I can see the board. We'll be back with you with commentary as soon as possible, folks. Just had to restart my tabletop simulator.
That's right.
Due to some internet issues.
We'll just recap. So Tlakali's moved, she's worshipped to place a pillar, and she's led from the hand. And now we have Jack activating Akuti. And moving into lane number 1 as well. So on the right hand side of the board.
And I'm guessing we might be seeing a worship action coming here.
I don't think you're wrong. Yep, so we have a worship action.
Oh, and perfect timing for that token to load its cash in on my end.
And there we go.
Akuti illusion.
And we've got Akuti attacking.
And then attacking the pillar. So the pillar will go down before her illusion gets to trigger, meaning she will in fact get to kill a minion without fear of Tlakali taking the damage.
All I will say is that Tlakali position worries me when there's an Ekrit on the other side. As I learnt the hard way.
Being exactly within 3 of the zone is dangerous. But Akrit is on the other side of the table currently.
It's one thing I learnt the very hard way, on stream of all times.
So now we have a Kotlik activation, and everything's loaded up now, so I should be able to resume commentating efficiently. Just just hit that refresh button so I can get the HP totals. And Kotlik moving in and then skirmishing to get into range of Akuti with a +1. That will not do any damage due to Akuti having 1 armor from her illusion. Nice little passive ability there that all yellow heroes get while they're within 3 of her illusion is +1 armor.
And then we've got the final action being a worship.
And then
just to replace that destroyed
to replace the pillar. Yeah. Keep the last minion alive. Yeah, and no lead given Slokale already having used one. But like you said, a creep could cause some problems there with an untimely push. Yakumo's just asking if you can zoom in a bit.
Yeah. It looks a lot more zoomed in on my game than it does on the stream, but that's alright.
Fair play. I have the luxury of being able to move around a bit, and it looks like Jack is activating a Strider next. He's pinged her at least. He hasn't picked her up yet, but we'll see. Chances are she's going to move Shapeshift and kill a minion and spawn one of her own. It's the standard play we see on turn 1. Problem is, if he does do that, it means that Creek can't get her standard turn 1 of moving into the dome, killing 2 minions, and adding a point to dominance in that area. And attacking the minion now. But without the worship, so a Strider will not be able to lose 2 HP and spawn an additional minion in this lane, as she was not shapeshifted at the time. She is going to lead from hand instead, so we can suspect that's a 3.
I think that would be a very fair assumption here.
Most of the time when we see players leading from hand, it is a 3 or a very eccentric bluff at 1. If we talk about leading from the deck stats just for the moment, Jack has an average mana cost of exactly 2 in his deck, whereas Gameslayer much lower on the side of 1.78 average mana. The difference is Gameslayer has a 1.63 average plus modifier, and Jack has just 0.84, which is around half. So we see the trade-off in deck construction here between 2 different styles of build. One much more aggressive and one much more concerned about keeping that lane dominance in check.
I definitely think this is a game where the objectives are going to play towards both players' decks quite well as well. We don't see a overabundance of control objectives or kill objectives.
There's a little bit of everything, right? But the control objectives to me probably err towards the Tamer more than Right Breach. Right Breach is quite aggressive and quite easily attainable early on with the lane pushes available from Jack. But on the other hand, if he's trying to aggressively push those lanes, losing HP to spawn additional minions and whatnot, he's going to have to worry about the obstinacy.
I have a feeling that's a contributing reason for not having worshipped with a Strider.
Quite possibly, yeah. It'd be hard to imagine that it's not something that factors into Jack's decision making at this stage. You know, very skilled player, came second to only the creator of the game in the last league. Beat me in week 1.
Yep. And here we see Zakol having moved into the dome and worshipping to trigger his collapse ability off his card and deal 1+ damage to the minion in lane 1.
And that pillar is not likely to be used now that... I mean, I suppose it could be used in response to Shalavi, but that's dangerous. If Shalavi does damage to a minion and take it on Tlockley. I always get a name wrong. Tlockley, who's not far away. She could get melted pretty quick.
Yeah, quite easily.
And I feel like Gameslayer's opted for quite a slow approach, given the heroes that he's picked out of his team. He's not expecting the game to be over quickly. But right now, to be completely honest, I'm hard done trying to find a way that Gameslayer can eventually satisfy one of these win conditions.
Well, it looks like he's got the ability to push lanes. He doesn't have a shortage of ways to kill minions, because he may not have Ekrit, Akudi, and a Strider, but he's still got Zakol, and Zakol's good at killing minions from anywhere on the board, and Tlacali protects them all. But,
right, that is true. Tlacali will help stall the lane, and Zakol will help kill the minions.
Well, with the new Talot pillar change, there's every chance we see 6-7 pillars on the board, and then Kotlik just
oh god, yeah,
destroy a couple of heroes with a nice big skirmish.
Yeah, so Kotlik's Strength of the King ability becoming much more powerful now, given the new rules on Talot pillars. So he can remove any number of friendly pillars, which previously would have only been able to be up to 4, right? If you had exactly 4 green heroes in your team.
Yep, the new change has made it a lot more difficult to keep Talot in check with the number of pillars they have. Not that it's a bad thing.
Because if they start building up, well, no, I feel like they needed a little buff, so I don't mind it so much.
No, exactly. And now we have Shalavi activating.
So Shalavi coming in hot on Zakol there. Do you think we're going to see an attack and a lead here, most likely?
I think that
or maybe a lead in
this. I think there needs to be a lead just to try and force. We've got a ultimate flip for
plus 3. That's a lot of damage to Zakol.
It's one way to get through with the armor.
Yeah, just flip ultimates every time. Every time being 1 out of 1 so far, so technically I'm not wrong.
Yes, that is 100% hit rate on ultimates attacking heroes.
You know when you say something stupid and then just like style it out? I'm not good at that. So, Nalaklan being the last hero from Gameslayer's side of the table. And looking at the notes he's put accompanying each of the heroes in his deck list, Zakol and Nalaklan are the 2 core heroes here for Gameslayer. And they're full of 3 mana cards. 3 copies of Rampant Hatred on Zakol, and 3 copies of Unstoppable on Nalaklan. So, tell us, do you remember Unstoppable?
Yeah, it's the 3 mana red card that applies Fast and Frenzy.
Exactly, right? And that card has not seen much play. Not at all.
But now we've got...
but back to the game, yeah.
So, yeah, we had Nalaklan Worship to place a pillar by the tower. Move in. Attack Shalavi for 5. And then using the Skytear Flux, play a Presence.
Yeah, so the pillar by the tower signaling that he's expecting to lose that lane. But why would he care about it? It's his right lane, not his left lane.
Yes, yeah.
Jack
can't win off right breach with that lane.
Right, and I don't think Gameslayer is going for a right breach victory here against such a push-heavy team. He's probably going to take one of the kill options, if available. So at the moment, Gameslayer is winning the dome.
Well, the only way that Jack...
And the first lane. Is it the first lane? Yeah,
Yes.
and lane 1 at the minute. He's winning lane 1. But we still have a creep left to go, and she could sure cause some damage to that plan.
We'll have to see if Jack's noticed the same thing that we were talking about earlier, but not repeating until he does it.
The the push on Flakali?
That's the one. We'll have to see.
I'm sure he's not listening in to us, don't worry.
It's been quite some time since she got moved, and it's easy to lose an opposing hero at times.
I think he's seen it.
I'd expect nothing less. Like we've said, he is a very talented player.
Yes, stellar player. Always takes his time to think everything through, make sure, wait for all the options, and has decided here that the best option, he believes, is to push Tlakali out of the way. Do we have any movement prevention?
We had a response though.
No.
We had Kotlik play quick shot to kill Jack's last minion in the lane.
Kotlik playing a quick shot. Where is Kotlik? Oh, he's right there. Sure. I thought he ended in the dome for some reason. And that could make a difference.
Yes, definitely could.
It's not as good as a lead of 3, but it's handy.
And the one thing I will say at this juncture as well is if anybody in the chat would like us to colour in tint the players' heroes to make it easier, we can definitely do that really quickly. But I'd hope that 4 green heroes are easy enough to tell apart from blue and yellow.
For sure, right. So resolving the control for lane 1 here, it looks like Gameslayer won by 1, probably thanks to that quick shot. Slakala did get pushed out of the lane, as we suspected. But nevertheless, the lane moves up 1 in his favour, which is nice for preventing an early potential right breach from Jack. On the other side of the table, however, the control token is moving all the way up to the tower.
And let's not forget, destroying the Nexus is the always the alternative win condition.
Yes, and Jack has certainly proved himself as someone who is not afraid to attempt doing so, as we saw in the final of the Outsiders League. But just going back to that earlier play of putting the pillar where it is, very heads up from Gameslayer to accept the fact that he lost that lane and make sure that he had a way to defend his minions in that lane, which need to be spawned actually.
Yeah. So
on the next round. And then resolving the dome. I didn't actually see who took it.
Gameslayer did win the dome. But what we'll do as well is we'll take an opportunity to just colour tint the heroes. I don't want to go too green, but we'll go a little bit green. We'll go a little bit green, just to make viewing easier. Alright.
We don't need to tint the outsider, right? He's big enough.
I think he's most certainly big enough. Hopefully, these colours aren't too obtrusive to people's eyes. And hopefully it nicely tells apart which heroes are which for our lovely viewers at home.
Alright.
Just scroll.
So, whoops. Ignore
Alright.
that. So I think Gameslayer's just thinking about where he wants to position the outsider. I very much highly doubt we're going to see anywhere near a point on the Tamer right now. So it's more going to be about which lane he wants to defend and which heroes he might want to set up, or which pillars he might want to set up for next round.
Yeah, and that's going to be the interesting thing here, is there's now a lot more value in placing the Tamer, the outsider, with green heroes to be able to place additional pillars.
Yeah, and a push on a Strider here could be quite handy for keeping her away from that lane.
Yep.
Not to mention, Gameslayer's only sitting on 2 cards right now, so I wouldn't be surprised if he draws a third as one of the actions.
We'll just make the outsider a little bit smaller so his hands don't continue to get in the way.
Maybe a bit bigger.
He's big enough still. So we've seen the outsider Shockwave to push a Strider away.
Yep.
And deal her a damage.
Did a regular attack. Regular attack on Shalave, bringing her down to 10 hit points. And was that draw card as the third action, I think? And then they're both drawing 2 for the end of the round. So, slow round 1 here. Both players posturing for a good foothold in the game to try and see where they can take a potential victory. A lot of development on the board. Yet to see the blood fly, though.
Well, it's turn 2, and if turn 2 signals anything with aggressive decks featuring red, it's normally a prevalence of frenzy and attacking.
So, looking at the list, there are 2 copies of Burning Rage available. The Skytear Flux has already been used, so he can't get to Unstoppable this turn. There is... Nope, that's it. None of the one that takes 2 HP off you.
No strength over pain.
Is a Burning Rage. No strength over pain, that's the one. So... opened up on each side of the table now is Presence. There's 3 copies of that coming from Flakali. 2 Burning Rage, as I mentioned. And there's a lot of ones, to be perfectly honest, from Gameslayer's side of the table. On the other side, Strider also bringing 3 copies of Presence herself. Shalave with a Time Warp and a Migraine. A Creep with 3 redirects and 2 Time Warps. And a Kuti with 2 Gathering Storm and 2 Call of the Pack. So this turn is really going to come online for Jack more than Gameslayer, in my opinion. Although the third round might actually swing the other way.
The other interesting thing about this turn is it does open up Gameslayer to be able to take advantage of the copies of Impervious that he's running, as well as Granite Skins and Shield Slams. So we might see a nice little skirmish combo come out.
Yes, that's right. You can definitely build up enough armor to take advantage of the Granite Skin skirmish damage, additional skirmish damage, especially if a bunch of pillars are built up over the course of this round and Kotlik finishes it off with that.
Yep.
It could be big.
And we've now got Gameslayer activating Nelliclin and declaring an attack. I think we're just waiting to see if there is any counterplay to this.
Yeah, and the 2 copies of Burning Rage in this deck did actually come from Lachlan. So I'm assuming he's using him mainly as an engine of attacking people and getting through armor with the piercing damage from the Lachlan being a mage.
We do have a redirect being played.
Ooh, redirect. And that's moving the target to Crete. He's fine with that. Absolutely fine with that. Either way, for Gameslayer, it's damage on a hero.
Yep, and let's not forget, if we see multiple heroes down low, it does make getting the kills with the Tamer more achievable.
Oh yes. And really, if we're likely to see an obstinacy victory in this game, we want to be seeing the first heroes getting killed this round. Otherwise, it's going to be far too late by the time they come back to the table.
Yep, it will make it much more difficult. Although,
so we will see.
Killing a hero first activation next turn before they've activated still makes that about the same.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, ideally, you kill a hero at the end of this round before they've activated, and then they come back next round and die again. But
yeah, in an ideal world.
We'll see. So it looks like a skirmish. Yeah. For 2. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a lead here try and push back that lane in his favour. Yeah, and that's a lead from hand, so we can assume that is probably one of the Unstoppables, Rampant Hatreds, or Ultimates. So 5 cards in hand at the moment for Jack, with Shlavia already having used her mana. 4 cards for Gameslayer. However, Gameslayer is pretty healthy from the majority of his team. Sokol's taken a bit, but still above 10, still in the green zone, and
definitely.
Whereas on the other side, Shalavi, she's starting to look like she could use some bandages. Or the Freyhell that wasn't picked.
No, there's no bandages to be had. If memory serves.
No bandages. They only damage themselves, this team, in the case of Strider, the Emo Mermaid. So we have a move here from a Strider.
Yep.
Looks like she's running back to that lane. I would expect a lead rather than a minion attack, given that she isn't shapeshifted and she isn't in that bush.
Yeah, I'd expect the same thing.
So you're just thinking. Yeah, if he could see the minion in the bush, then a shapeshift and attack would make quite a lot more sense, given the totem. Sorry, they're saying something in the chat. He's still in Discord. Jack has disconnected.
Ah. Well, let's hope he is back shortly.
Apparently he's still in the Discord. So, oh, he's back. There we are, guys. Cool. So yeah, as I was saying, if he was able to see the minion that's in the bush, then attacking it would make a lot of sense. If he had a shapeshift token, because he could spawn another minion in the lane. Actually, I'm looking at the wrong minions, aren't I? Jack only has 2, and they're both next to the pillar.
No, Jack has the yellow minions.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Gameslayer has 2 and they're both next to the pillar. Yeah, so we're seeing a worship and an attack come in anyway, and that's only an attack for 1, so I'm guessing Tlakali's No?
Torkali doesn't have line of sight to a pillar. There's no pillar within 3 of Torkali.
She doesn't need it, right?
No, she does to turn on the abilities.
Oh, to turn on the ability. She doesn't have line of sight herself. Okay, of course. That makes sense. So, Jack will indeed get to spawn another minion in that lane. And it looks like he is committed to pushing it and maybe threatening that Nexus victory that you mentioned earlier.
Well, if the right lane's not pushing, you may as well push to the left.
Exactly right. Towers is towers.
Towers is cards.
That is also true. And cards are never bad.
I definitely hope so in a game that is predominantly a card game.
I mean, if you built your deck in a way that means the cards are bad, fair enough. Oh, Jack's disconnected again. Apologies to our viewers. I am sure these connection issues will be resolved shortly and we'll be straight back into the action. How are you doing in this tournament, Kroll?
Not so good. Lost my first round match.
Yeah, me too. I lost to Jack playing this deck.
I lost by my own poor foresight in placing a hero in the wrong hex out of 2, so that I couldn't kill them.
Eee.
Yep, had 2 chances.
Yikes from me.
2 choices and I picked the wrong one. If I'd taken an extra minute...
You can't blame yourself.
Oh, I definitely can. If I had taken an extra 30 seconds and done the math, I would have known that one of my towers was going to get pushed to the Nexus, and I would have known to put it on the other side.
I am unfortunately very much the same camp as you. I constantly say or think, I don't need to do the math, it'll be okay, and then lose.
Alright, and we've got Jack back.
Right, and he's finishing off the activation with a Strider there, exhausting her and removing the Shapeshift token. So, longer turn than he probably intended it to be, but hopefully he stays connected now. It does look like his cursor's jumping around a bit, though. Ping's very high.
Well, we'll fingers crossed that it stabilizes, but it looks like he's still here.
Yeah, I think they're just discussing something before Gameslayer takes his next activation. Okay, well, they said we're all good for now, so...
Alright. Looks like we'll be right back with the action then.
So, from Jack's side of the table, that Nexus victory is actually looking pretty tempting right now. From Gameslayer's side, obstinacy on Shalavi, maybe?
Well, there is certainly a few options coming through. I mean...
Skirmish for 2 damage. Or 1 damage after acute his armor. A worship and place a pillar and maybe heal someone. Probably not. I don't think anyone's in range of a pillar to heal.
No, there's nobody adjacent to a pillar.
Yeah, so this is likely to turn on her top ability. Make sure that she can defend against any heavy push from Jack. And maybe later sack the pillar to Kotlik's ability and get in a big skirmish.
Well, it wouldn't hurt. Well, I mean,
I can definitely see that happening and taking 2 heroes down to like 1 HP and then they get killed from the outside. Just like with a single skirmish activation.
yeah, I mean, it's always an option.
It was the type of thing I was trying to set up if I was in his seat. Not that I would be, because I don't play green. Yuck. Team Island go over here. And flipping a +2 again, there's been a lot of those coming up. A lot of those 1 mana +2 cards packed into Gameslayer's deck. Make sure he gets the most out of his aggressive skirmish and attack actions. And it looks like Tlakali's done. She has turned sideways.
Yep.
And Akuti's up next. I'm excited to see, hopefully, some of the new frenzy mechanic coming into play.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see that new mechanic at work as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's 5 cards that grant frenzy sitting in Gameslayer's list. In the heroes that he's brought today. So
if you count the Tlakali ultimate, there's a 6th card.
That's true. Could give his whole team frenzy. It's nuts.
It's not something to be trifled with anymore. Good old Tlakali.
Ignored, yeah. The 1000th ritual, of course, apply a condition of your choice to each hero in line of sight of Tlakali or a pillar. And that second requirement, or in line of sight of a pillar, going to be much easier to achieve now that they can have as many as they want.
Yes.
And it looks like Akuti is playing a Call of the Pack to spawn an extra 2 minions in the lane, I believe. Yep. Definitely help the defense. Maybe start to push towards that right breach. Do you think we see the attack the pillar, ping the minion that we saw earlier?
I wouldn't put it past it. It's also a really good way to keep control of the number of pillars and lane control at the same time.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I'm sure that's probably one of the reasons that factored in his decision to include Akuti in his list today.
And the illusion doing
and another ultimate flipped. And then a lead from top for Jack to close out the turn. So on average, that's going to be a 2, but we know he's hoping it's going to be a 3. With no leads so far on the other side of the table, there isn't too much to worry about. Oh, sorry, there is a lead on the Lachlan, but that's in the other lane. So, Kotlik, could this be the big skirmish? Or is he just going to harass somebody and sit in a lane?
Well, I guess we're waiting with bated breath to see whether there's any nice little armor comboing.
What's this? What are they? You're going as a call instead, maybe?
That's what it's looking like to me.
Yeah, because a Crete doesn't have line of sight. So I think the thing you was pinging was that a Crete doesn't have line of sight to her illusion, so she can be pushed outside of the dome.
Yes.
No,
we...
However, that will push her into the other control token, and she's get to act.
Oh, we're just going to wail on Shalavi instead, from the looks of it.
Yeah. Pushing her not going to do as much.
No, but hitting her for a little bit.
Well, actually, I suppose it does, because maybe not in this instance, because she's not shapeshifted, but if she was shapeshifted,
we've got another
pushing her away before she gets a chance to do revenge.
We do have a redirect, though. And
okay, so the redirect coming in, changing the target to a Crete, and then now they're both down on 8 HP. I don't feel like that's much better, necessarily.
Well, it does possibly make Jack waste an action with Ekrit to put her back into a position that he wants.
Yeah, possibly. However, I think it now puts him in a position where he can skirmish rather than move. And then he'll be right in front of those minions to be able to blast them.
That's also true.
I think he's probably going to act with Shalavi first anyway.
And we see another collapse from Zakol.
Yep, and that one's flipping My Kingdom. Nalaklan's ultimate now gone.
Kotlik.
Seen quite a few ultimates go so far. Might be an appropriate time to talk about which ones are left. So I have the Storm and Word of Nupton have gone into the discard pile on the side of Jack, meaning he is left with
a Strider and
Predator and Song of the Siren. Yeah. So hopefully we could see a Song of the Siren next round, nuking Kira on the other side of the table. And for Gameslayer.
And Gameslayer just finishes off Zakol with a lead action from hand.
Right, so again, we can hope that that is a 3. So 2 of the ultimates gone on the side of Gameslayer, Totemic Slam and My Kingdom, leaving him with the aforementioned 1000th Ritual. Could see Team-wide Frenzy. And My Kingdom.
No.
Kotlik's ultimate.
No.
Oh no, My Kingdom's gone.
So and we've got Shalavi moving out of the dome to go and presumably fight Nalaklan. That we do. We're going to see another ultimate flip on Shalavi. Yes, we are. A whopping,
Damn, that's a big chunk.
A whopping 7 damage, which is exactly half of poor Nalaklan's health.
Yeah, he is not feeling too healthy anymore.
No. And then there's a lead.
However, that will be the end of the activation.
With a lead from the deck as well.
Yeah. So I think Jack's trying to wait as long as possible to see what Kotlik does. Before he decides where he wants to put his heroes in lane.
I definitely don't think that's a bad idea when your last hero's Ekrit and she has a lot of range to do things.
Right, exactly. She can clear minions from a lane, she can push heroes out of control range, and she can sit somewhere herself and have an extra point if 1 extra point is all you need.
So we've got Kotlik and Ekrit. It's just a matter of what they're going to do.
Yeah. So this will probably be quite impactful, these 2 turns. They're probably the most important activation for each team. So they have to last here.
Yeah, they're definitely going to dictate where the action's going to be the hottest on turn 3. I think Gameslayer needs to be worried that there might be a presence, but Ekrit's actually tapped out of mana, so I'm going to take that right back. There's not going to be a presence.
Yeah, and with it not being a reaction, it can't be played by a Strider at this point. So, I mean, he may have a presence himself, or although he's no blue heroes left, so that's out the window.
Yep, it's just a question of whether he wants to, I guess, guarantee the dome or stay in the lane to help the lane.
Yeah.
But we've got an attack onto Akuti.
I'm slightly surprised by that. I would have probably preferred him to put some more damage on Ekrit and maybe even try and kill her before she gets a chance to wipe some of the minions in that right lane, or that left lane, depending on which way you guys are looking at it.
Well, it's interesting. We'll see what he's got planned for this skirmish action, apart from hitting poor old Akuti again. Nope, just...
And it looks like he's more interested in maintaining some dominance over that lane than he is fighting for a kill. So, interesting line, but I'm sure he's calculated his odds and figured out that it's his best route.
Yep, and then we're going to finish up that activation with a lead from the deck. And that brings us to the final activation of round 2.
Yeah, and I'm not certain how I feel about that lead as well. He already... Oh no, sorry, he doesn't have a lead on Tlakali. I thought he did.
No, I think it's wise not to have the lead on Tlakali given what happened last turn and her positioning this turn.
Oh, very much so. Very much so. I just mistook one of the other heroes for her for a moment.
Oh, it's easy enough to do when you have cards covering up half of a hero's card all the time.
Yeah. So I definitely can see Ekrit just move worship attack here. I don't know if that's what Jack will end up going with, but it feels fine. Will mean he loses the dome though.
Well, he's got options. He can always skirmish, attack, and lead.
It really depends on what sort of win condition he wants to push. If he's looking for a right breach, or if he wants to defend more against the possibility of a tamer and just draw out a long game where the Nexus can get killed.
I think he's also considering the number of cards he has and how much he wants to commit to burning his hand down to minimal cards.
Right, and both players sitting on 3 at the moment is quite a comfortable spot, but if it starts getting lower than that, you have to start worrying about losing card advantage.
Yeah, 3 cards currently means you're still going to have 5 or 6 at the end of the turn, at the start of the next turn. But going any lower, you risk burning out of cards.
And it can be a difficult situation to recover from if you then don't have any cards to help you secure kills on enemy heroes. So card advantage constantly being something that we see be key in players' decision-making process in this game. And both of these players, you know, they're no strangers to competitive play. We talked about Jack, but Gameslayer also reached the playoff stage of the last Outsiders League. So both of these guys, they know what they're doing.
Yep.
And we will get that skirmish from Ekrit that you mentioned, moving it into the dome. Possibly.
Yep. It's unfortunately no damage on Zakol from it, but I don't think That's the main reason. We're gonna see
Yeah,
another...
added bonus, right?
Yeah.
So he is going for a push on Tlakali again. No lead on Tlakali, as we earlier mentioned this time, but just getting that extra 1 point of presence out of the lane.
And I mean, 3 damage never hurts either.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
And then it's a question of whether we see a lead or a move back into the lane.
Well, the thing is, if you lead, you have to lead with a 3 if you want to guarantee you
Well,
beat Zakol.
No, we're just going to gamble on a
However, they
deck.
aren't that... Well, I was just about to say, there aren't that many 3s from the side of Gameslayer.
No, but...
There are only 10, including the ultimates, in the deck. And with 2 leads from hand, you have to suspect if those are actually 3s or just bloods.
Yep, and we do see another quick shot from Kotlik to control the lane again.
Right, and that's something we often see getting squeezed in at the end of rounds here, right?
Yep.
Right before control tokens are resolved. Just for the element of surprise, really.
And then we've got a...
swinging a lane in the...
Looks like Gameslayer's going to keep pushing. He's got a 3 lead from an Unstoppable versus a 1 lead from a Swiftness.
Yep, so that's pushing right up to the tower. I don't think there was any tower damage dealt there.
I have a feeling.
But Gameslayer says, "Hey, if you're gonna push my left tower, I'll push yours."
Yep.
And a 3 on the other side of the table as well from Lachlan's lead.
But we're still gonna see Jack win that lane by 1.
Shalavi had a 3 under as well. Yeah.
I did not realize that Shalavi had a lead. See, I'm losing track of the game state.
Yes, Shalavi also had a lead of 3. So there's going to be some chunks gone off that tower and an extra card in hand for Jack. Bringing it now to 4-2, the in-hand totals.
Yep, and now we're going to see the leads for the dome in just a moment.
The middle, and this could really go either way. We have to hope that that's a 3 under as a call, but with Unstoppable and Rampant Hatred already flipped as leads this round, I'm feeling like he might have just snuck a wand there.
Well, there's definitely every chance. I'm just hoping the bluff did what it needed to, but we're going to find out.
Looks like they're just trying to figure out if the correct number of minions are in lane. And a 3 on both sides.
And
so no Song of the Siren coming next round, unfortunately.
No, and that also
and no
means...
Consult in the Heart either.
Also means the only ultimate left in the game at the moment in decks is the 1000th Ritual from Slakali.
Yes, it does, doesn't it? Because Dance of the Predator got flipped too, yeah.
And it also means nobody wins the outsider.
Right.
So we're straight to the races for another turn. Moving up
for sure. Moving on to round 3. And it doesn't look like we're likely to see a Tamer victory in this game. And Obstinance is also seeming very far away, Even killing someone now, if they've acted, they're not coming back till turn 5.
Yep, but Tlakali's making
I feel like I'm trying to take Shalavi out early, maybe.
Looks like that's the current thought process.
So move, skirmish, attack. So we've seen the skirmish resolve for 1 damage. I think the attack has yet to be flipped. Maybe waiting to see if Jack has a response. Lots of redirects in the deck. That's another 3 damage to Shalavi. So she is getting within striking distance from anyone now. And
And
here we go. Here we go. So I believe this hits everybody other than... Oh no, so it doesn't hit a QT, Kotlik, or a Strider.
yeah, but I think the important part
Hits...
is that it's hitting Tlakali and Nalaklin. And I think more so the fact that it's, I think we're probably seeing Gameslayer take some frenzy tokens here.
Oh, yes.
And then probably...
And he's likely to put disarms or slows on the other side.
I would hesitate to guess towards slow instead of disarm.
For Shalavi.
Well, slow full stop is just better control than disarm. I don't think Gameslayer's awful worried about heroes killing him.
Well, yeah, but... Yeah, I guess the other target is a Crete, right? So she's probably going to get slow as well, because that will seriously mute her ability to move.
It's just a...
So yeah, you're probably right there.
It's a gamble whether you put slow or disarm on Shalavi.
I think she probably gets the slow, and he's planning to kill her anyway, right? Like,
well,
he's probably going to give a frenzy to Clary and take another attack against her, so...
That's true. It also comes down to whether Gameslayer's been keeping track enough to know that there is no +3 cards left, so no way for Shalavi... Oh, no, we're just going to disarm Shalavi to be better safe than sorry. And I don't dislike that play at all, because I think...
I mean, he can flip a +2 and kill.
Yeah, I think it's definitely safe to be disarming.
And here is the extra attack. So, just to remind our viewers, as we earlier mentioned, we are currently playtesting beta rules for a couple of things, one of which is Frenzy, which has now been changed so that rather than using an action to make an extra attack, you just remove the token and do it for free. And that's what we're seeing here. Kali has removed her Frenzy to make an extra attack, targeting that. No, I assume targeting the Nalakal.
I'd make the very same assumption.
And I think Jack's just taking a moment to consider his options before we potentially reveal this attack. Okay, so he's got a time warp, and that will mean he can escape into the dome. However, you know, Shalavi's sat with a disarm and only 1 mana left. I don't feel like she's going to be able to get an awful lot done this round.
No, but at least there is an activation for Shalavi before she potentially bites the dust.
Right, and it's probably wiser to activate her in a way, because on one hand, she's probably going to die, and that means she'll be off the table for 2 turns if he activates her now. But on the other hand, she's probably going to die, and that means she'll be off the turn for 2 tables if he activates her now, meaning Obstinance is further out of reach.
Yep, but there's also a high possibility that you just... well, it's a lower possibility now, but there's a possibility that you can just kill Nalaklin.
Right, I mean, you want to do that before he gets to activate, hopefully.
Yeah, but with...
Well, they need a way to remove the disarm.
Well, he's convinced...
There are 2 copies of Charm coming from a Strider.
And I think another one from...
And 1 from Akuti, actually, so... Yeah. And she has, conveniently, 1 mana left. So we'll see if that comes into play in just a moment. Jack now taking the time, look for his discard pile, consult the options available. figure out how we can get this done. I mean, to me, Nexus victory is still seeming like a solid option.
Yeah, definitely. I think right breach is more or less out of the question for both players.
I mean, especially if no Lackland's off the table. So Carly's already acted and didn't lead. So that means that if Gameslayer was to protect lane 2, he would have to move another hero in.
Yep.
You know, not ideal.
And we've got a skirmish from Shalavi.
Yep. No charm. So it will only be 1 damage. Or is it 0?
It will round up, so it's
1, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Half
So
rounded up.
always 1. You think he forgot about the disarm though?
I don't think Jack would have forgotten about the disarm. I say that, but we're going to see an attack anyway.
There's an impervious on Lackland that will grant him 2 additional armor for the rest of the activation. So I'm going to help protect him. Flipping over a 0 there, that will mean only 2 damage gets through, which will... Oh, sorry, I haven't flipped yet. I haven't flipped the second card. And the second card being Akreet's ultimate.
Yep, so that's...
that's
7 becomes 4 becomes 2.
Yes. Much closer, but not as close as I think he'd have liked to have got. And it doesn't look like we have any direct damage spells coming in from Jack's side, so there's no fear of a Nightmares Incarnate or anything like that. There is Twister of Souls, but that only does 3.
I think there's also
Wind Blast
migraines.
only does 2.
And there is migraines as well.
I see one
copy.
There's 1 copy of migraine. Yeah, 1 copy.
I have a feeling that's there more for the disarm than the damage.
Yeah, for sure, right? He's playing 2 through the eyes in Kanui, who isn't on the table, and 1 migraine, so certainly favouring some disarm potential. And no snowblind in the list, which is something that we've seen a fair bit from Jack and a lot of these blue-yellow lists before.
Yes.
So interesting to note the omission of that. Wonder if that's something to do with the new rules changes that he thinks will be less. Okay, so we're getting the Lackland activated now. And he's going to try and finish off that Shalavi. Blast her to bits.
I don't feel like there's too much that can happen here.
Oh, right, but the last action from Jack was a revenge. So it was a shapeshift, meaning that she will be able to do revenge if she's not dead. She is dead in this instance. But yeah, maybe that's what he was planning for. If Gameslayer flipped an unfortunate number, he'd be able to revenge on the cracked back.
Well, I think they're having a discussion now whether it still triggers or not, because a friendly hero still lost health.
Yeah, but she's not alive to deal the damage.
Yeah, and that should be the way it does happen.
Whoop. Okay, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no revenge.
If we're thinking about it logically, revenge can only trigger if she's alive after the life is lost.
Yeah, like, how can she seek revenge if she's
dead?
Not on the table. So Shalavi being the first kill of the game there, and I'll just go ahead and up a point on obstinacy for them.
And James just confirming on the YouTube that yes, she does have to be alive to revenge back. So we do know our rules well enough.
I don't think I've been promoted, by the way, because I couldn't copy that token then.
That's right.
Yeah, I think it's since I disconnected and reconnected earlier. So the Lackland's still with 2 actions and a frenzy token. Think you might see him move onto a Strider or Ekrit?
Yeah, it is.
Ekrit's pretty low too.
It's an interesting one, but then he's giving up the lane and the tower to get to the Nexus.
Right, for sure. He'd definitely be sacrificing that lane, so you have to think of the trade-off of what killing that additional hero would achieve. Obstinacy is already on the table, but not till turn 5. And killing a Crete now doesn't help with a Tamer, so...
But killing a Crete now does give you a hero to kill on turn 4 for Obstinacy.
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing. It does give a hero to kill on turn 4 for Obstinacy, and it helps alleviate the potential pressure that a Crete could apply in a lane.
Oh, we're just going to see a minion die to a frenzy attack. And some skirmishing on the Strider.
Interesting they decided to attack a minion rather than a Strider.
I don't dislike it. It's probably the right call to try and protect the lane as much as possible.
Yeah, I'm just thirsty for blood all the time.
And a presence.
Yeah, so definitely more concerned about that lane presence, about making sure the tower doesn't get pushed back too hard. Because if he loses that tower, of course, he can't spawn minions. And then how's he going to defend the Nexus?
Well, the risk is that a Strider can potentially, with a couple of lucky flips, kill an Eloquent and remove 2 plus a lead worth of control.
Yeah, I mean, a Strider could easily take care of him. You know, he's sat on no armor now. The Impervious is worn off, and a juicier target than ever with presence and a blind lead on top.
Well, it's a presence lead, so it's not too blind.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Well, did he keep on top, or did he put one in the discard, right? So he's actually blind.
He put one in the discard and one back on top.
Oh, right, yeah. You are correct. You okay to cover for a minute while I just nip to the bathroom?
Of course I can.
Technical interlude.
Alright. We've got Jack now activating a Kuti. So we've got a core of the pack from a Kuti again. Because who doesn't love spawning 2 minions for 2 mana?
Did I miss any action?
We've seen a core of the pack from a Kuti.
So helping to beef up the presence in that right lane of Jack's. He says, you know what? You can push my tower, but I'm not going to let you get any further than this.
Yep, and it looks like we've got an attack to kill a minion.
And hopefully another one, right?
Well, it's no,
Bada
it's
bing, bada boom.
definitely going to kill another one.
Seen lots of ultimates getting flipped rather than played this game.
Well, isn't that always the way it happens? You never see the ultimates that you want or need, and they all get flipped.
I thought it only happened to me.
Oh, well. And we've got a blind lead.
Yeah, one action remaining for Akuti still. Just thinking about where he wants the illusion, maybe, or where he wants himself to have less chance of getting pushed. Although, yeah, so Akuti can't actually see Akrit's illusion at the minute.
Yeah.
Given it's in a cover hex, right?
Nope, you can see friendly heroes and illusions.
Oh, fair enough.
But we've got to move to the opposite side of the lane to finish things up.
Right, and sitting in a cover hex herself will make her protected from anyone that's not adjacent to her. Not particularly relevant when Kotlik's only one hex away, but it does mean that there's more distance between herself and another one of her own heroes, meaning Kotlik won't be able to bounce between them as easy.
Yep, and now we've got Zakol attacking Ekrit.
Right, possibly to try and push her into Kotlik's swing range.
Also just likely to hit her for some damage, because she's already at
well, yeah,
health.
A little bit of extra damage, and he's got 2 attacks. However, if the push resolves, he'll have to move to get in range to be able to attack again.
Oh, we're going to see a time warp to avoid the damage.
Right, and it's likely that Zakol struggles to make another attack here. We'd have to skirmish to get in range of either a minion or a creep. And at that point, the second attack, it's not feeling great, right?
No, but that is one thing. I did forget that there was a frenzy token.
Yeah, the last frenzy token is still left over from Flakali's earlier 1000 ritual. And the slow still being on a crate on the other side of the table, who's yet to act. Now we have a skirmish, so probably going to line himself up for either a minion kill or some more damage on a crate, and that's what it looks like. Unfortunately, now he has to decide between.
Well, it is
between the lane.
It is a 2 armor Ekrit though because of Akuti's illusion, so that's something.
Ooh, yes.
It's still going to be 3
extra
damage.
plus 1 armor.
My apologies.
The
skirmish hit for nothing, and then the attack hit for 1.
Yes. Yeah, so the first one was the skirmish. The second attack declared via frenzy.
Yep, and then we have a blind lead, so it looks like the decision is for the lane at the moment.
Yeah, the sacks off the outsider, bored after that, after no one won it in round 2. Nobody gives a damn about him anymore. It's all about the lanes. I'm only saying that because I'm trying to reverse jinx the possibility of a Tamer victory just randomly popping up.
Well, the Tamer definitely needs some love on the old statistics page.
It does. I can't wait for the new victory condition to come out.
It's going to be quite an exciting time to see it flipped.
For sure. I mean, you're not going to see it in every game, right? It's just going to come up as often as anything else, but the fact that it could be there, definitely going to change up the meta a bit.
I think the important part is the fact that it's the replacement effect, the replacement victory card for Siege, so to speak, is going to make it a more diverse pool of victory conditions.
Right. And here we see Jack attempting his own victory condition of, just going to keep pushing the Nexus. presence on a Strider, they can be pretty confident that this is followed up by a lead from the top. Shapeshift and an attack, most likely. With Nalaklan and Tlakali having already acted, there's not much to worry about on the crackback.
Yep, we're going to have a lead from the deck to start with after that presence.
So we can be pretty certain that that's the 3. And Nalaklan does have his own presence and lead on the other side of the table. So, evening things out a bit.
Yep, the question is, what's the other card that Jack's left on top, and is it something that's going to allow him to attack and kill Nalaklan, potentially?
We can certainly hope so. And he is 2 up on minions as well, so as a default, he'd win the lane by 2. But he's going to have to win by at least 5 points if he wants to take down that tower this turn, or clear some of the minions out alternatively.
I think the important thing as well is Tlakali's not in range, so it's just those 3 minions and Nalaklan standing in the way.
Yeah, for sure.
Alright, we got a skirmish.
And I think, yeah, it's likely that the results of this skirmish flip may decide it for him.
It's just a +1.
Does that not do 1 damage?
It'll do 1. Now
Yep.
it's the question of
There
what
we
the
go.
third action's going to be, though.
I mean, it's pretty good odds on an attack, right? You need to flip a +1.
Yeah,
I'd take that action.
I think it's definitely worth the risk.
I mean, his average is plus 0.84, so it's just slightly under 1. But with a Time Warp on the table, I'm pretty sure 1 in his discard.
Yes.
That's definitely gonna...
Well, we're going to take the risk.
Yeah. He's going for it.
Oh, unlucky.
Miss! But the outsider can finish Nalaklan off if Jack's that way disposed. The creep could hop right into that dome and...
Do both, win the outsider and act like a sniper and kill Nalaklan.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the outsider would kill Nalaklan, right? You leave him so that you can get the Tamer point.
But the flip side is you don't get the lane push into the Nexus.
Right.
So,
How do we feel about a skirmish backwards, attack to get a push on Kotlik and Zakol, and then move into the dome? I don't know. Something tricksy, hopefully.
well, it depends. Kotlik's got to activate now anyway, so Kotlik's going to more than likely cease to be in that hex.
Very true, and we will see if that is the case shortly. Another thing to consider is that Zakol's currently the one leading in this lane, so if Kotlik doesn't lead, a creep could just dance around Zakol and then push him out of range of the control token.
Oh, I think Jack's definitely not short on plays for Ekrit at this point.
No, far more well-versed than I.
It's always better to have
that hero a lot. But...
Well, it's always better to be spoilt for choice than forced into an action that you don't really want.
So, only 2 pillars on the table at the moment, so it doesn't look like we're going to see a big skirmish.
No, it looks like we're just going to dance into a little bush.
Attack. And then move.
Well, he's declared a skirmish and a move so far, but you can't kill
How does
a minion with a skirmish.
Yeah, unless we're missing something.
Oh, there's a quick shot.
Got it.
There we go. See, we missed it. That was some very quick play.
Yeah, quick shot snuck under our radar there. It was so quick, didn't even see it. Moving into the dome, didn't use an action on that attack, so we had one left over to lead with.
And it is a blind lead, so now we're going to see the final activation of turn 3.
Yeah, and I would be shocked if Jack didn't try to contest the dome here.
Yeah, it is a interesting and difficult choice, but I think it's definitely...
There's also a straight line through Kotlik and Zakol right now, and whenever I'm playing a creep, I find myself hard-pressed not to take that offer.
Yeah. I have a feeling, well, if I were in Jack's position and not thinking for too long, my initial thought is kill Nalaklen and draw cards. Because
isn't it just better to do it with the outsider?
I don't think so, because then you've got 2 turns to try and win the outsider to get another kill. I think with the Tamer, you ideally want to be killing a hero. Well, either have somebody like the Scourge of Guido, where you're more likely to kill somebody 100 to 0, or have somebody else low enough as well. But we'll see, there is a skirmish.
Well, I think the value of adding a point to the Tamer sits as much in the value of it being a threat.
Well, a point on the Tamer does, in fact, go towards tiebreakers if we end up at that juncture at the end of the game.
More so, it means that Gameslayer has to put more attention on making sure that Jack doesn't just sneakily win the dome and finish someone off.
Yeah. And then we're going to see a worship.
Yep, making sure he can't be moved, and I think you were right, he's going to blast a line through Nalaklen by the looks of things.
It's the hard decision, because you give up the outsider, but you get more cards and more lane pressure.
I think I honestly prefer the lead. If he has a lead of 3 in hand, I think I prefer that.
Well,
but he goes to the attack.
We're going to go the bloodthirsty route.
And that is Nalaklen off the table. 2 extra cards in hand for Jack.
Yep.
And our second point on obstinacy, 1 for either team now. But unlikely to trigger anytime soon. Definitely not on the next round of play, given the fact that they are both off the table to round 5.
Yep, and it is also important to keep in mind obstinacy is not one of the cards that counts as a tiebreaker, because you don't technically place tokens on it. We just place the hero's health tracker icon on there to keep track of which heroes have already been slain and make it easier on the old memory.
And it looks like a creep's playing a swiftness at the end of turn, just to cycle a card. And I believe we'll be getting to resolving the lanes now. So over in lane 1, currently we have 4 points for lead of 2, bringing the total to 6 on the side of Jack. And Zakol, with just a lead of 1, meaning he only has 4 points, Jack wins by 2. We see the 2 minions get removed, and that token is going to push up a bit further away from his tower. Got to feel good about that.
It's still in range, but I wouldn't be fancying the chances of a Nexus win this time.
No, and the right breach not looking any closer for Gameslayer either.
I think we just honestly write off Right Breach completely at this point of the game. I think we're likely to see this come down to a Nexus or an Obstinacy at this rate.
Well, I'm very much in the same camp. I think Nexus is probably going to come sooner, though. I mean, we'll see how the second lane results here in just a moment.
Well,
3 lead from a Strider and 2 from the Lachlan.
Nalaclin is also dead.
Sorry.
So
Yeah, that's a good point. So 5, 6,
10-3 by my
7,
quick
8,
math.
9, 10. Yee! Towers all the way gone and pressed right up against the Nexus, which is certainly going to make things difficult for Gameslayer going into this 4th round. Now with that added threat of Nexus victory on the table.
Especially with a nice 7 minions there as well.
Yeah, nothing to sniff at for sure. I have to say, I like it when we get to see Nexus wins. It reminds you of the true essence of what the game is, right?
Well, the other important thing to note as well is, despite the fact that we're seeing a Talot deck featuring red, there is a lack of any AoE clearing ability.
Right, so no Dragon Punch.
No Dragon Punch.
There's there's not a lot really. I mean, I feel like Gameslayer was experimenting a bit with the new frenzy in this list.
Yes, he did tell me it's a never before tested deck, so he's a brave man to test it live on stream.
But it's not over yet, and we still haven't seen a big skirmish from Kotlik, which could certainly swing things around. And the outsider for Gameslayer. Think he's going to try and get a kill on a Crete here? Or
Well, it's definitely
do some
one way.
cleanup?
It's definitely one way to get back into this.
So, with the outsider there, he won't be able to see anything in lane number 2, given the white line between.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah. Just highlighting that to make sure the players know. So, an attack on a Crete for just 3 damage, 2 after her 1 armor. Or is she on an Acuity Illusion as well?
No, it did go from 7 to 5.
Oh, right. Well, I can definitely see him drawing a card with Instant Energy.
I never think that's a bad ability on this outsider.
Well, especially not when you sat on 2 up against 5.
Oh, I mean, quite frankly, even when you're sitting at like 5 or 6, drawing another card is just more options.
Very true. Very true. Being able to cycle through your deck and pick the cards you want is never a bad thing.
Yep.
And I think you did just draw the card there.
Yeah. I did see that very, very quick card draw.
I heard it.
And then we're going to have Zakol taking a worship action.
Yeah. It's very reasonable. Getting an extra pillar on the table. Now there's 3. They do begin to stack up if you don't keep an eye on it.
Oh, they definitely do.
Both players have drawn 2 cards, so it looks like we're moving on to round 4 now.
Could very well be the deciding turn.
Yeah. I mean, I have a feeling that Nexus pressure is definitely going to swing things this turn, either enough to win the game from Jack's side, or to devote enough resources from Gameslayer that Jack's able to work on anything else. You know, maybe even a right breach. He's got minion advantage in that lane as well at the moment. And it's still achievable if the control token gets in range this turn. So,
It definitely is.
although at this point, I think Nexus is
Looks like
way to go, right?
it looks like Jack's been learning from Ricardo on how to destroy your opponent's Nexus.
Definitely. One thing that's interesting to note here is that there are only 3 hexes currently unoccupied that could be sat in to contribute towards the control token.
Yep.
One of them being on the tower next
see,
to it, and then across from it.
Well, we see Kotlik becoming unstoppable.
Oh, so Kotlik gaining Fast and Frenzy will mean he gets to make 2 attacks this turn, and anywhere on the battlefield he wants, pretty much.
Well, I think we both know exactly where that's going to be.
What, you think he's just going to clear out some minions?
I definitely would be doing the same thing.
Well, he hasn't moved.
Oh, we're moving and quick shotting.
Quick shot, and then he's going to skirmish and bash a Strider. That's my bet. Dead heroes can't lead.
This is true, but that Ekrit sure can.
Yeah, deal with her after. She's only on 5. Plus, like I said, she's going to be hard pressed to reach a spot that she can actually impact the control token from.
Well, we're going to see what happens, whether this quick shot's going to resolve or whether Jack has something to say about it. But from memory, I don't think Jack does have anything that'll let him interact with this, given the... Oh, actually I lie. Jack does have chasms which may come into play.
Yeah. Chasm could certainly get the job done. Any other options available?
That's the one it's the only one I could see that springs to mind.
I mean, redirect does nothing. Yeah, the Chasm is the only option.
Maybe just trying to bait out the chasm before we get to slaughtering minions.
So you think he I don't think he's going to go for the minions.
I think he would.
I feel like if his plan was to attack minions, then the move action would have ended with him adjacent to more than just one.
I guess we're going to see when he skirmishes. I mean,
He's going to go into this cover hex.
Killing a Strider is definitely a possibility.
I mean, it puts her out.
Alright, so it looks like you're right.
Table. So 1 damage, given a Strider's inherent 1 armor, and then the first attack action comes in. Yeah, if she's dead, she can't lead, right? Which means she can't push that lane.
No,
because she's not doing anything else this turn. There's no minions for her to kill. All she was going to do probably move up, like harass somebody, and then lead.
I don't dislike that play. It's definitely still nice to do.
Yeah, plus you get to draw those extra cards, right, if you do get a dead.
Yes, that's true.
Looks like a time warp coming in from Jack. We'll move a Strider to safety.
And importantly, that also means that the Frenzy is technically unable to trigger because Kotlik is out of actions. Oh,
I think he's
I have a feeling
conceded.
we're calling it GG.
I surrender. Well, there you have it, folks. Gameslayer surrenders on turn 4 to impending Nexus victory.
Yep, and it doesn't look like there's anything in his hand that he's able to play, whereas Jack seems spoilt for choice. out of his hand.
So I'm just checking if we're planning to do an interview with the players. Get them over in the whereby.
I think they're just having a discussion that possibly killing 2 minions or threatening to kill minions. But the other thing I will note is that we're an hour and 40 minutes in. So it might be a point where we potentially call it, but we'll see what the players have to say. If they want to have a chat or whether they're happy to call it there.
Well, it looks like it. I've sent them the links. Just a quick, I think just a quick wrap up would be appropriate here. Talk about the players' deck choices. Hello.
Hi guys.
Hello.
Hey
So
guys.
it looks like we have both of the players in here. Gameslayer, Jack, great game.
Thanks a lot.
Talk us through the end there.
I surrender. There's nothing I can do. My hand has been awful the entire game, apart from the opening. In the opening, I drew 3 Rampant Hatreds and 2 Ultimates.
Well, that's
That was
definitely
my starting hand.
Oh,
I have since drawn 4 Quick Shots, 3 Imperviouses, and 2 Through the Eyes.
oof. That's definitely a rough set of cards.
All my +2s as well. Burning Frenzy is my only 0 cost. I have 2 of them in the deck. I flipped all 4 of them on attacks.
Yeah, that's definitely a.
Shalavi, meanwhile, attacked 3 times and flipped a +3 every time.
yeah.
Yeah,
Was that 4 times? I think that was 4 times, wasn't it?
No, it was.
Every
It was.
attack.
It was
You
3.
made
We
four
said,
attacks that
we said at the start of the game.
Yeah, we did have a
This
joke
deck
up.
has
Said at
The,
the
more
start of the game
+2s in it than my
that,
red.
All he had to do was flip an ult every time.
My deck
No,
has
but
an
it was a
average
great game.
modifier of 1.63, and it was not drawn. It was only drawing my 2s. It was never flipping my 2s. The only 2 things I can say for this
Well, we
game
saw
is
that
that I
you-
should have stopped the Ekrit illusion play, because I could have to save Nelliglin by moving Kotlik there. And that I left Tikali able to be pushed out early on.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think this game just came down to me just getting ridiculously unlucky with everything. Apart from the 1 lead with Unstoppable.
and I guess.
Well, you put a lot of frenzy in your deck today. I'm assuming to take advantage of the new rules. How did you find that?
Well, I mean, I only put
a lot of
in
extra
Burning
attacks in that
Hatreds.
game.
I only put in 2 Burning Hatreds. Statistically, they're correct to do. My average modifier is more than 1. The Burning Rage. So my theory is that I will flip. Well, mathematically, I will flip
Mhm.
twice for every 1 I play. Is my theory.
Yep.
So in that sense, the card has to have an expected value of higher than double its modifier in order for it to be worth. Sorry, an expected value of higher than double its value modifier plus what the card actually does. Right? In order to be worth more than just a +2 in my deck.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So Burning Frenzy does at a minimum. It's going to do about 4. It's going to do about 4.5-ish expected damage on a 3 attack character.
And Jack, you're still sitting on the same lineup that you have been for quite some time now. You comfy with your girls?
Yes, but the card is different in Hero because the new friends is very very impressive.
It is a.
And
Are you starting to think you might have to change up, adjust to that?
I change the lineup with new card. In match friendly, I play red green deck because I love frenzy. but in tournament
Well-
I like my push deck.
I mean, it's a phenomenal deck. We've seen it being successful for a while now. Be interesting to see if Blue get any frenzy cards anytime soon. But do you have any questions to ask, Krull?
I think I should have brought Akla rather than Kotlik. Not because of any of the cards particularly, but Kotlik I just could not make use of this game. He was always one action point too low for the skirmish, for the worship skirmish plays. There was too much ranged. I needed another ranged character. Being melee really hurt him, and we could see that with time warps and such.
Yeah. I guess my only
We
question,
did see that quite a...
Yeah. My only question for you both was around the objectives that you flipped, and just whether, I guess, you had plans off that, or... I mean, I assume that Right Breach was a thought for you, Jack. And obviously Obstinacy, or the Tamer from a Frenzy deck for you, Gameslayer, but obviously we didn't see Right Breach happen, we saw left lanes pushing.
I mean, yeah, to be fair, I did not defend the left lane very well. I fully expected that around turn 4 I would be able to get my second Tamer or Obstinacy kill. I was looking really pretty on doing those at the start of the game, and then it all just completely fell apart when I was drawing my +2s and flipping my 0s.
Yeah, the damage output was looking very scary to start with Shalavi and Ekrit just disappearing.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was the other thing, right? The double redirect early on forced me to swap my damage over.
Yeah.
Which was definitely a problem, but I just needed to get out of that game at this point. There's nothing I can do. my one thing was thinking to myself, well, maybe I can potentially go for a also destroying winning lane 1, and then because it's point 1. If he's pushing really hard for the Nexus victory, I could maybe get there first, but it never meant to be. Akudi, of course, destroys pillars, very effective at that.
Yes.
Maybe considering that I was going up against an Akudi, I shouldn't have bothered bringing Tikali. But it did force him to do those attacks.
Yeah. Well, it's a pillar.
Yeah,
for
we did see Jack making use of that maneuver a couple of times. Definitely worth it. Well, thanks for chatting to us, guys. I think the Wacky stream might be starting soon, if they are doing that tonight still.
Yeah, and thanks for putting on a good game as well. It was,
I think we're about...
It was him with cards and heroes and stats versus me with nothing but stats.
Well, the stats should have translated better, but that's what happens with card games. But yeah, I think that'll bring this to a close, and then keep your eyes.
So thank you to all our viewers. Make sure to keep tuning in. We've got regular Skytear content on the way. There is another game tomorrow, I believe, from the US division of this same Summer League. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled for that. And thank you, as always, for watching the broadcast this evening.
And otherwise, we'll be back the same time next week for another match from the Europe section tournament. But yeah, thanks for joining us, guys.
Thanks for